So I think it's really important for somebody to say, and it doesn't matter that it's me, it really doesn't matter who says it. What's important is that somebody says it, because I know we're standing on bus corners, we're standing on bar stools, we're standing and sitting and screaming and shouting, and nobody's hearing us. And the frustration is that America's a pretty great place, and the whole point of this thing is that people in Washington aren't getting it done. If you or I did what they've done as congressmen and senators, we'd lose our job. And it's time that somebody said you're fired. And we need to come up with a way that every person that cares enough goes to the phone, goes to the mail, goes to Washington, D.C. and shouts through the gate and says, we've had enough. I mean, it's beyond the point of ridiculousness when, and it's not in the last 8 weeks, it's not in the last 90 days, it's the last 365 days. And in all honesty, you and I know that it's actually way before that they haven't done their job. When their egos and their priorities, self-imposed priorities, are way more important than the nation, then something's really, really wrong. And aren't you ready to scream? Aren't you ready to jump out the window and just say, hey, don't I care? Don't I matter? Don't you get it? And that's kind of what's going on. I just don't know. I can't hear one more politician, talking head, radio announcer, newscast say, oh, they're going to work it all out. It's all going to be okay. We've got a few days left. A few days left? Really? Because we've had months and a year, and they've been pushing and pushing and pushing this problem that we could have resolved a long time ago. But the reason that it didn't get resolved is very simple, because they forgot how important we are. And all they care about is how important they are. And there's no word called compromise left in their vocabulary. When you can't compromise, when you've lost the vision to see how important the country is, and the only vision is how important you are, whether you're a Tea Party, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, none of those labels mean anything. They just don't matter. What matters is that you're an American, and your country should matter. And all the things that have stopped, all the people that have stopped, all the necessities that have stopped, yes, they can be put back. Why should they have to stop? They shouldn't have had to stop, because these idiots, these people that just haven't got their act together and can't figure out a way to get it straight. Do you know the government mostly got it together and was able to do it even from the time when Ben Franklin and of course when George Washington and Hamilton and all these guys, they fought too. Of course, that's part of good government. It's part of any good company. You always have to have arguments. You always have to have dissension. You have to have differing viewpoints. It's how things get accomplished. If everybody had the same viewpoint, we'd all be lemmings jumping off the edge of the cliff. But that's not the issue. The issue is when nobody wants to compromise, when nobody can see that there's a valid middle ground, that's when everything goes to hell in a handbag, and that's exactly where we're at now. And it's time that we told them all they're fired. Every single one. There's not one person who isn't complicit in this, and they all need to go. Period. Done. That's it. End of story. Everybody needs to go. Term limits ought to be a matter of fact. Nobody should be there for more than 4 years. The whole idea was that people came from their county, town, burg, or hollow, wherever they lived, and they came and they served for a couple of years, and they voiced the opinions of those in their county, their town, and spoke about what they needed, and then they went back and took over their job again. It wasn't supposed to be a lifetime job or an appointment, and people have turned it into a cash cow and a livelihood. And why should they not have the same Social Security, the same retirement, and the same health care that everybody else has? That just goes against everything that makes any kind of sense. And doesn't logic come into play here somehow? And if you take away all the incentives, of course they're not concerned about why we have our Social Security. Sure, we should cut Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, everything that they're not affected by. Get them out. Make them have to live in the same world we do. Maybe if they knew how much milk, bread, vegetables cost, and we stopped paying farmers to farm dirt, and we started fixing our infrastructure and started taking charge of the things that matter and learn how to compromise again, when at the end of the day, even if they were Republicans, Democrats, independents, and did not get along, could still go out and have dinner together and say, you know, there's got to be a way to figure this all out. And there was. And they came up with a solution. You know why? Because put the country first, put your ego aside, and work it out. But we've forgotten how to do all that. And now the country doesn't matter. Patriotism is a thing of the past. And people are shelved and politicians come first. But that's the wrong approach, and that's not why we hired them. And so they should be fired. As simple as that. They didn't do the job. If you or I did it, we'd be fired. It's time to fire them. And there isn't an impeachment for all of them, but we should impeach every one of them. And tell them, I'm sorry, you're done. You didn't get it done. You're done. Leave your check, pay back what you've been paid for the last year because you didn't earn it. And by the way, anybody coming in wants to do it, you get a fair wage, you get Social Security, you get the same health care everybody else gets, and if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I don't blame them. I don't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it. But this is a train wreck, and it's a train wreck heading for the cliff, and it makes absolutely no sense. We're a great country, the greatest country in the world. We've done incredible things. We're a country of innovators. We're a country of inventors. We're a country of hard workers. We're still the land of the free and the home of the brave, and people come here every day wanting to get a fresh start. A place where you can still become a millionaire from a dirt farmer. Somebody that actually farms in the dirt, not farms dirt for money and grows nothing. There's all kinds of ways to solve problems, but they all involve thinking, effort, and compromise. And that's not getting done. And when the debt ceiling issues come up, we can't have this same crap going on. I don't know about you, but I can't stand these guys on the news, on the front of the paper. It's just insane that we have to even hear them. And the fact that they're still getting paid while all these other people aren't just makes absolutely no sense. So I don't know. You tell me, can we call somebody? Can we write? My frustration led me to do this. So I hope maybe you might watch this, say, you know, you're right. We need to do something, anything. Patriotism is what made this country what it is. Being the country we are is why everybody wants a piece of us. It's why everybody wants to be here. It's why everybody wants to live and be an American. And those that don't, that's great. Go live where you live. But I still want to be an American. I still love this country. And I remember something that was always a part of our country. It was in God we trust. I still trust God. I still trust that we're going to be number one. I still trust that we can straighten out our issues, fix our infrastructure, have some kind of health care, have a country where people can learn to work hard, become a part of the middle class, and survive. 55% of America is making less than $55,000 a year. That's insane. And the top 10% of earners are making 80%, I believe, and maybe that's a wrong number. I'm not a financier, so I don't know that number, but you look and check. It's an insane number that the top wage earners in the country is about the top 10 or 15% of the people make the largest percentage of all the money, and then the other 80%, it's probably 20, the other 80% of us share the rest. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues. Let's just deal with these two issues. Let's get Congress either to act or get out. And you know what? You could go be there, and you can't do a worse job, and I bet you do a better job. I don't want the job. No thanks. I've got a retirement program that's work till you die. I bet you're on the same program. There's a few lucky people that still have a retirement program. But for the rest of us, I'm happy to work and lucky to have a job. Let's go forward, be strong, be optimistic, and do the best we can. Wondered if those members of the Senate and Congress heard any of that. Geez, if they even tried for a week, maybe we'd even get all this resolved. And then they can figure out what to do with their egos and all their private war chests and all their private schemes that they have, and certainly all their pork to figure out how they have to survive. Well, I don't care. And I think today's the day to give them all their pink slips, send them their walking papers, put anybody in there. I'd rather have your grandmother in Congress. I bet she'd do a better job. And certainly let's send your sister to the Senate. She'll do a better job. Well, I hope it gave you something to think about. I just needed an outlet. I'm so frustrated, so sick and tired of hearing what they can't do. If they ever heard the word, I can, I will, I'll do it, it sure hasn't been for a long time. And I bet it isn't the message their mother sold them, told them, and gave them. They seem to have forgotten all of that. That's all I got, guys. Good luck. I think we'll weather the storm. Just hope that we can find a better way. And I sure think we should fire every single one of them. Let's go ahead, be better, fight longer, be stronger. Hang in there. We're going to make it.